Hi everybody, this is Mike Hamilton. It's the 15th of August and we've got a really interesting weekly review ahead, so let's get going. It's been a while since we had a situation where there's been so many people on in two camps in terms of the markets as the bullish and bearish camp. But let's just take a look at the market. Let's put the news to one side. There's been a lot of data coming out, some of it good, some of it bad. UK and the data has been pretty good, but mixed in the US. The Fed came out on Tuesday and admitted that the recovery in the US is stalling. Pretty much had a jobless rally so far, and of course, we've had 2-3 days of selling end of last week. But let's just look at the charts and see what the charts are telling us. This is a weekly in the dollar index, so we've come off the 38.2% fibs, closed above the 50% fibs through the 50 EMA and bounced off the 20 EMA to close the 8. I think we are looking at a major trend to the upside in the dollar here now. Looking for a pullback to possibly as much as 50%, but I suspect that 50 EMA will hold at 82.40 before we resume a trend and move back to 89 and potentially a break up through here as the months tick by up to 93 and possibly even higher. So let's have a look at the daily on this. So here you can see we're trapped under the 50 EMA in the daily, so that's going to take time to get through. So we're between the 50 and the 200 here at the moment. So looking for that pullback to at least 82.5, if not lower. We've closed just above 83, and maybe we'll get chopped around there for maybe a few days before we eventually break up through 83 and start to move up back towards the 90 area, or at least back to the 100%, 89 up there. And look what's been happening to the bonds at the same time. While these equity markets have been moving up, we've had the bonds being bought all the way up here. Looking for a bounce off this area here, 127 extension. Let's just have a look where that's been taken from. It's been taken from here, over here. So look, I think we might potentially reach 126. We're very close to 126 now. That will give us an oversold on the RSI before we start to move to the downside. I think we could retest the 50 EMA before resuming the bull trend in the bonds. I think the bonds are moving up on the possible threat of deflation. At the moment, those threats are put to one side with the data we had on Friday, but I think we're only going to get a short-term respite on these bonds before they move. On to equities. This is the S&P 500 futures, the ES, on the daily chart. Now, after the Fed day on Tuesday, the following day, Wednesday, the big a lot of sellers came in, and we finished the week down here at 10.76. This to me at the moment is a stopping bar. Bear in mind what I just said about the dollar pulling back. I think this stopping bar, this inverted hammer, will give us a move back to the upside. Now 30% of this bar would take us up to the 50 EMA. So I think we're going to see a retest of this area here, which is major resistance, as you can see on the left, price action here and here. So I'm looking for a move back to 10.95 on the ES, at which time I will get short with a stop at 10.09 to see if I can get a move back through the 200 EMA and back down to these levels down here. Now, rather than just write these markets off, I'm just taking these on these daily charts, and I will manage my stop. If I do get a run to the downside, I will manage my stop on the daily chart. Find my sort of stop zones as I've talked about in the past, and see if I can get a run up and lock in all profits when the time is right, and manage that trade as we move to the downside if that pans out. Now, rather than write these markets off, let's just have a look and see if there's a case for the bulls. If we then get a move up through and close above 1100, I would buy a pullback. If we get a close above 1100 at say 1105 or more, I buy a pullback to 1100 and see if I can get back up through this level. So rather than sit here and say, right, these markets are going to sell off, I always prefer to have a scenario in my head And there is a scenario for the long side and there is a scenario for the short side. But that's one short term. I'm looking for a bounce with that dollar back to 10.95 to look to get short, a stop up here, assuming I get the shorts, the right close on these daily charts, and then try and run it to the downside. But I want a move up to 50 EMA and a rejection of 50 EMA before I get short. Okay, this is the Aussie dollar yen. I'm short from a pullback here up to the 20 EMA on the daily chart. If you're not in this one, stand aside. I've got my stop just above here at 78.14 above the 50 EMA. I'm going to sit there and see CAD yen, not touching it. This one's interesting. Aussie dollar CAD. We're closed just below some key area of support here, but and just marginally below on the daily. And we're closed on the 20 EMA. So we've closed on support. My feeling is with this one, we've got a lot of history over here, a lot of mess just underneath this area here. This is a decent distribution pattern here, but we got the 8 and the 200 crossing here. What I think is going to happen here is that with a weak oil, I think we may sort of move just between the 8 and the 20 here, but with the potential move up in the gold and potential move down in the CAD longer term for trends, I think this after a retest possibly this area 91, I'll be a big buyer down here because I think this could move up very strongly. So just keeping an eye out, not trading this at the moment, just keeping an eye out to see if we get a move back down here to 91 on the Aussie dollar CAD. Aussie US, again that pullback that I think we're due in the dollar. I think we could see a lot of support here in near-term support in the Aussie US. I think this could act as a stopping bar, and we could see a short-term move back up in the Aussie dollar, potentially as much as 90.37 before that dollar gains strength and this potentially moves to the downside. I like the EURUSD here. I think what we're seeing here in the EURUSD is a double top drop. We've now got to close just below the 50 EMA. I'm looking to buy to short a pullback to 133 with a stop just up here. I'm going to go one bar back on this one, 134, say 25, just above this area here. Because if we get up here, I think this move could be over and we could get trapped between the 50 and the 200. But the fact we're closed below the 50 EMA there, I'm looking for a short at 133 and a stop at 134.25. Euro US, this is major support here. I think we're going to see some sideways action, possibly move back up to 129, or certainly the high 128 before eventually rolling over. But I do think this Euro US could drop pretty hard. On the Euro Pound, if you're going to pull back to 82, actually because the RSI is so low, I'm not going to trade that. I'm going to leave that one. Euro Yen is great. I'm still short this one. I'm going to move my stop above 111.24 to see if I can get a move right down to 107.5. US dollar yen, not touching it. US dollar CAD, not touching it. Pound, finally pound. Again, I think we've got a lot of support here. I think we could get a retest of 158.60. So I would look to buy this above 156.21 to see if we can get a move back up here, but then I think we're going to get a resumption of the downtrend. Hope that helps. Any questions, email me, and bye for now.